One of the biggest lies that was ever told to, I would say, starting with the middle class and lower, is that money can't buy happiness. I really hate this phrase, especially when people use it, because typically people don't really understand the deeper meaning of it. And it's a phrase that really keeps people in a poverty stricken mindset, to not value money as much as they really should. Which I mean is understandable when you see so many people, blowing cash like it's nothing, especially when they're not in that wealthy status or even the middle class status, which is pretty much disappeared at this point. Um, Here's the thing: is though you never, or you almost never see wealthy people saying that money can't buy happiness. I remember an interview with Eminem when he, uh, I believe it was, it was definitely some years ago. I can't remember exactly when, but he said that money doesn't buy happiness; it buys crazy ass happiness, and that made me think about it for a while. Um, every single civilization that has ever existed, right, has always used a currency, a cash flow, right, in and out, supply demand, in order to afford people happiness, right? And so we're going to go ahead and get a little bit deeper, right? If you guys know the Eminem story, he pretty much came from nothing, absolutely nothing, moving from home to home, had to literally do, or it was death for him, right? There was no other option but success. And now he is one of the most, well, not one, he's he's definitely one of the most respected rappers. Um, but he is very wealthy, right? Um, this is what people tend to misunderstand when it comes to this phrase. Is that it's not that happiness can outright buy, or I'm sorry, it's not that money can outright buy happiness, but it's that money can afford you, right, to be happier. And so, what that means is that happiness really depends on a lot of different factors: your depression levels, your anxiety levels, your um, 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 stress levels, right? Obviously, if we are stressed, we're going to be in a shitty mood. If we're depressed, it's going to be hard for us to get out of bed to go to work, right? If we're anxious, we're worrying about every single thing and we're hoarding every single thing that we can. So that stops us from going and making money, right? So, or I mean, even if we are anxious, we start selling things, right? I think one of the biggest examples of that is that we undersell quite a bit just for a little bit of cash. I see that happen time and time and time again, right? We undervalue the things that we end up selling to the market, and we screw ourselves over. And so, it's either one way or the other. But typically, um, high anxiety levels, not good. High stress levels, not good, right? Some of us get into unhealthy coping mechanisms. That's typically the first thing that we go to, unfortunately. As any other animal, we try to take the path of least resistance, right? The easiest way out. And unfortunately, that's alcohol, drugs, all kinds of shit, sex even. Um, and that it really begins to explain everything that's happening today. Look around you. Look at how many people are depressed, anxious, stressed the fuck out, right? Money affords you happiness, because if not as many people would be depressed, anxious, or stressed if they were able to live a decent life, right? If they were able to afford their rent, if they were able to afford food on top of that, right? And then some, to be able to go out and maybe do some luxurious things, maybe go on a vacation once or twice a year, right? And not really have to stress so much about saving up for their next meal. The happiness levels would go up. That makes sense, right? And so it's not that you can outright buy happiness, but it's that you can afford to be happy. You understand? And so that's what people tend to misunderstand when they say this phrase. Again, they're in this poverty mindset that, they don't really need cash as much. It's not as valuable to them as, say, family. But then at the same time, they always throw away cash to cope. And that doesn't make any sense, you know? And so, why not why not take that seriously? Start building yourself, right? Start start bringing some cash in, figure out your cost versus your income, right? And so um money in, money out, right? Figure that shit out. Figure out how to make money. I'm sure that people already are through DoorDash and other skills and whatnot. Um, but figure out these things, right? Um, get those levels down. You'll begin to see a change. You never really see. Um, well, I mean, you do seldomly see wealthy people depressed and anxious and stressed out, but it's typically for other reasons. It's not really because of money. It's typically because of just the status that comes with it, right? It's the status, it's the eyes on you, because obviously more eyes are going to be on you when you have more status, right? And so you never really hear um wealthy people complaining so much about money problems, right? Not having enough money. It's always poor people that are always complaining about money. But at the same time, again, they don't treat money as they should. I mean, the economic literacy people have today is absolutely abysmal. Um, and I can thank my parents for absolutely fucking failing me, because I didn't have a credit card until I was in my last year of service, which was a few years ago. So I had to start from nothing. How to learn credit and all that shit. And I still believe that you know money can't buy happiness. And there's also another factor to that, is in something that I touched on a little earlier, um, with families, right? Listen, boys, as men, you have to gather resources. It's just it's Women will always expect you to gather resources. That's just the reality of it. If you don't have any resources, you're passed over, man. You are passed over, because you cannot provide. A man that cannot provide to society is a man that's worthless. That's one of the expectations that are placed on men, is to do that. And that, in a sense, because this also kind of piggybacks off of yesterday's video, right? Where the end game for manhood is to be a father, right? And so um, to get resources, to get money, you have to be able to go out and um, you know uh, procure a bunch of skills to get that money, and then you can afford a woman, you can afford a family. And so that in itself is going to increase your happiness levels, right? And decrease your anxiety, depression, and stress levels. So, and then ladies, look, when you're pursuing a guy and he's able to do that, that's also going to decrease your stress levels, because guess what? That means you're not going to have to work. It means you can just stay home, with the family, with the kids, take care of the house. And listen, women are happiest when they're taking care of the homes. When they're in the homes, then they don't have to go to work. They just have to cook and clean and take care of the home, take care of the kids, and that's it. That's it. Obviously, take care of the husband too, but that's it, right? Um, so yes, absolutely, money does buy you happiness. It's just not in the way that most people have been conditioned, right, to believe that it is. Rockefeller once said that he wants a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers, right? And so when you get people thinking a specific way and not ever leaving this bubble, you have a nation of workers now, right? So, there's a reason why so many people are, just now beginning to make a little bit more money for themselves because they're going on and doing DoorDash, because they have these side gigs, because they're learning these skills that brings value to society that's going to bring them income. Um, but before then, there's not a whole lot of people that were actually doing that, and they were just doing the mundane, going to work, coming back home, right? Um, but then again, still stressed out that their bills aren't getting paid, or the very least that they're not having very much left over after bills were paid. Um, so money can absolutely afford you happiness. Don't let someone believe that it doesn't. Without money, you can't do anything, really. Especially in here in the West, here in America, where everything is monetized. Every single thing is monetized. That's true. So, um, and it's not just um that look look at this, for example, right? Um, you see people who have started from nothing, like Eminem, and have made themselves, and you see who they were in the beginning, right? And how stressed out they were, how life was kind of really beating them down, right? And how, they were struggling in the beginning. Obviously, because you will struggle in the beginning. I've been struggling, right? Hopefully, the breakthrough is coming at some point, whether I got to keep doing this for a year or two. Um, but I know it's coming at some point, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And there's also people that need help as well, and that's pretty much the main goal. But anyway, so I don't go off on a tangent. um, to see how much their lives transformed, right, after they've built themselves and become this, wealthy person, is it's obviously it's something that I can't really explain because it's nothing that I haven't really experienced just yet, or hopefully I will experience at some point, right? Because I do want to build myself. It's not, I mean, it's not all about the money, but it's about just getting myself out of this situation. I don't want to be in this situation. I'm struggling to pay bills. I'm struggling to pay mortgage. I'm struggling to pay, truck payments, credit card payments, and stuff like that. I mean, it's a huge struggle, a massive struggle. And the weight on my shoulders are immense, especially when I'm doing this shit myself, you know. And so, but anyways, uh it's it's really the overall mental health, you know. That's what it comes down to, a future for yourself. What kind of future do you see? And so, you know what kind of life do you want to live? Do you actually want to go out and live life and enjoy life, right? And so obviously, if you go to fucking Europe, right, just out of the blue like that, buy a plane ticket and go down and come back, you know Um, or if you wanted to go to the Bahamas, I've never been to the Bahamas. I've never even been on a cruise. I've never really even been on vacation, and so it's just that understanding, the light, the transition and the things that is now open to you, right? Because of the resources you've gathered, rather the skills that you've learned to gather those resources, right? The person that you've become, right, to get you into the status, but the status in itself, that is what really opens up the door to you. Um, and so obviously, again, I can't really explain it because I haven't experienced it. But I am well on my journey, and um, hopefully, you guys stick with me for the long run so that you can actually watch it happen, right? And so, you know, uh, I'm not just a small YouTuber, right? I'm a I'm a craftsman. I'm a musician, right? Guitarist, drummer, working on vocals too. And so something will something will happen for me. Um, it will eventually. I just have to keep doing what I'm doing. But as hard as it gets, I have to keep pushing. And um, this is the darker side of I guess entrepreneurship, if you can call it that. you know, um, because I do have an Etsy shop. I do sell some things. And well, selling things would be pretty full of myself because I haven't made any sales, unfortunately. What I do is just it's pretty niche, and so not a lot of people really take a look at that. Anyways, you know, uh, the darker side is that it takes an immense amount of will to get over that hump, right? But when you do, when things really start to take off, is when your life absolutely changes, right? And that from that point on, that's when your happiness levels go up. You don't have to stress about bills. When you don't have to when you don't when it's much easier to get a good night rest. Wake up, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, 12, even 1 o'clock, just sleeping in, waking up in the middle of the day, and just getting up and doing what you want to do, living life the way you want to live it. That is when you're going to be happiest. Not when you have to go to work at at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're stuck there at a job that you hate until 5, 6 o'clock at night. And then you come home and you open up a beer and you watch TV, and you can't really bring yourself to do anything else because you just want to escape from reality. Don't believe this, man. Don't believe this. Don't believe what the oligarchs had convinced you to believe. Only thing they really did was plant the seed in your head. And now you believe it because you see the struggles with the status, right, of the wealthy, and that deters you from going out and seeking your own empire. Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. It's better to deal with that kind of status, right? Or excuse me, it's better to deal with that kind of trouble than it is to worry about where your next meal is coming from. All right. So don't worry about all of that shit because you can take care of yourself, and those happiness levels are going to just continue to go up, provided you're living the right way, you're spending your money wisely, okay, you're not doing any dumb shit. you know so but that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today. What do you guys think? I definitely think it's interesting. Um, when you start to look at things from a different perspective, right? Just get out of your bubble of thinking, right? Get out of this, get out of your own head. Get out of your own head, start thinking, you know, life differently. As soon as you start doing that, a lot of opportunities will open up for you. I'm telling you they will, right? And so you just got to take that step. It's your life. You got to live it. So, that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully, this helped you to understand a few things. Because I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I think I've come to a pretty good conclusion on this topic. So, just let me know in the comments section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And why? I would love to hear your thoughts. Also, what are you seeing? So, um, uh, yeah, I'd be very interested to know what you guys are seeing, what you guys are experiencing, and what just your thoughts overall. Please make sure you're taking care of yourselves, okay, both mind and body. We talked about mental health earlier. Um, it's incredibly important with more people becoming more and more depressed, more anxious, more stressed. Obviously, excuse me, I don't have to address exactly why because it's very obvious, but um, just take care of yourselves, right? Mentally, and also go get physical, okay? Go get active. Yeah, I mentioned in a short earlier today that it's hard for me to go to the gym, simply because of my bank, the DMV, my truck, the way that it is, the condition that it is. But I'm not letting that stop me. I'm still going out. I'm still getting exercise. I'm rucking as much as my body hurts from it. I'm still going out. I'm getting exercise. I'm sweating. I'm burning calories. Right. I'm still on my fitness journey, and so don't let it stop you. Don't let your situation stop you. Keep doing, keep doing you. Keep improving. Keep growing. And if you need me for anything, just reach out. I'm always here. All right. I believe strongly in an open door policy. So just reach out. I'm available 24/7. Just reach out. Okay. You guys are my family, and I want to treat you like family. So that being said, guys, um, again, thank you for watching. I wish you guys a very happy day. I love you all, and I'll talk to you guys soon.